Hey guys, this is Goldy again. In the last video, we did our setup for SPF records to make sure that our recipients can have a way to figure out whether these emails which they are receiving are coming indeed from our mail servers or not, so that they can classify those emails as legitimate emails versus spam emails. Now in this video we will take one more security measure, which is called DKIM, which stands for Domain Key Identified Mail, which sounds a bit technical. And now before we go ahead and configure that to make sure our email setup with G Suite is super secure, let me take a moment to help you understand it with a simple analogy of a bank. So let's say when you open a bank account, you provide them your signatures, which bank might be keeping in their database somewhere. So now if you send somebody with a check which you sign and ask them to go and withdraw money on your behalf, bank has an option to check those signatures against the one which they have for you in their database. And if that signature matches, that means it's your signature and they might give the money to that person. But if not, that means somebody is trying to pretend to be you, but it's not you. So more or less DKIM works in a similar fashion. And if you see the diagram on my screen now, I just created this to make it easy to follow this video. So when you send an email after configuration of DKIM, every email which you send will be signed by your private key, and then recipients will take that private key and they will query your DNS servers for the public key, and they will try to match both of them. If these keys match, that means it's indeed coming from your mail servers and it's secure, so they can classify that as a legitimate email and they can send it to the inboxes of their recipients. But if these keys don't match, then they have a reason to mark that email as spam or forged email. So I hope that understanding is enough for us to now go ahead and configure DKIM for our G Suite domain. So for that, let's see, I have logged into my G Suite mailbox, and because I am the administrator, when I click on this setting icon, I will see manage this domain. I can also go to my admin console by clicking on this admin icon here after clicking on this 9 square boxes one. So I'll click on admin because that's the configuration which requires administrative access to G Suite. So I'm in at G Suite admin console here. Plus I have also logged into my Godaddy DNS. So if you haven't yet, go to Godaddy, log in with your ID and password, and then go to my products, and when you see the domain, click on the DNS. I'm going to show you with my domain which is registered with Godaddy, but regardless of where you have your domain, essentially it's the same setup. You just need to create a DNS record wherever your DNS is. So I'll come back to my admin console again, and I will search for DKIM, and Google works on natural language processing. So instead of going through a navigation path, you can simply search in this box DKIM and it will give you the path by itself. So I'll click on this path and it says authenticate email, set up email authentication, DKIM. Click on that and then you will land it here. I only have one domain here, but in case if you have multiple domains, you will need to click on this arrow and you can select the domain for which you want to set up DKIM. Once you do that, you will need to click on generate new record, and here you have a couple of options. The first one is selecting the length of your key. So you have two options here, 1024 and 2048. The more the longer the length is, the secure it will be. So unless your DNS provider would have some issues taking the longer key, then it's a separate stuff, but usually you will select the longer one. So in case I'm gonna select this 2048, And then this is the selector where, you know, this is just for your own reference. So if you, let's say, already have a key with Google, you can do some other selector, like whatever name you want to put it here. For now, I will just leave it as it is, and I'll click on generate. This will give us a couple of things. The first one is the DNS host name, and then the second one is the value for our Txt record. So we will copy this. So I'm going to copy the host value from here, copy, and then I will go to my DNS in Godaddy, and I will create a Txt record with these values. So I'll go here and I will say add, and this is a Txt record. So I'll create Txt host name. I just copied from Google, and then I'll copy the value as well, copy, and then I'm gonna paste that Txt value right here and click on save. So my DNS record has been saved. Now it might take there are a lot of DNS servers, so it might take a few minutes for that record to be reflected on all my DNS servers. And then once it's done, I will click on start authentication. It might not authenticate straight away because I just created it, and Google says that it may take 48 hours, but usually in my experience it doesn't take like more than 30 minutes. So oh, it was that quick. So within like a minute it just started authenticating. So now when I send an email, it will be authenticated via my public and private keys. So my recipient servers can actually would have an option to figure out whether these emails are coming from my domain itself, or somebody has just forged my emails. So hope it was helpful to make your email setup or your G Suite email setup secure. If you have any questions, as usual, please feel free to put your comments below, and I will be happy to help. Thank you so much.